typical shotcrete shoot requires 3 days. First day is staging, second day is shoot, third day is demo. Typical first day requires our stager to locate the site superintendent, to locate the layout man. Then he has to make sure that our layout is complete. Then we have to make sure formwork is secured at the top and bottom, pinned to the base. We have to make sure the overspray protection is in place. We have to make sure that our rebar is secured on a 5-foot on-center grid. We also have to make sure that the rebar has its proper clearances. When our stagers perform their duties, they will be utilizing pencil rod and piano wire to have our grade line. How we set up our guidelines for our wall face is that layout gives us layout, either a chalk line on the ground or nails with a ribbon, and then we laser up these points on this pencil rod, and this is where we notch, and we set our pencil rod in those notches, and then we tighten these taut. So that's how we get our wall face. And we use these with a 6-foot aluminum rod. Once we spray past these, then we cut off the excess, then we derby it and finish off the these. We have to make sure our shoot area is 10 feet clear, no debris, nothing in the way, so we have a nice clean work area to work with. We have to make sure that the concrete is ordered properly with the proper spacing, with the proper MPA. We also have to make sure test panels are built. We have to spray one of these every 40 meters so they can test for compressive strength to make sure that the concrete comes up to spec. We also have to make sure, say if there's inclement weather, if it's going to be raining or if it's the winter time and it's cold on site, the client has to provide the right temperature for the concrete to cure. Our stagers will also have to erect any scaffolding that will be needed for our crews to perform the work. Now on a typical shoot day, the equipment will come back and forth every day, and it will be cleaned and serviced every night so it's prepared and ready to go for the next following day. On the morning of the shoot, the foreman will converse with the pump operator. They'll find the pump area. They'll start setting up all their hoses and lines. They'll be making sure that they check for the hoses for any abrasions or cuts or tears. They'll make sure that all the clamps are secure with all the pins. So now we're after the crew arrives, the hoses and everything will be set up, and then the concrete truck will arrive. Right now we're just bagging the truck into position. Once it's in position, then we're going to check the slump temperature. We're going to pour the slick willy into the pump, and we're going to prime the line. There's a concrete ticket that'll have to be checked before we start, and it'll have to make sure that it's the proper spec for the job. Say if it's 35 MPa, 45 MPa, what kind of additives that might have to be in there, and we have to make sure that it coincides with what was ordered. Upon arrival, we check the ticket to make sure it's the desired slumped MPa and any retarder or accelerator. Today we're using 50 MPa, 10 mil with 2-hour retarder. This is a priming aid. We're going to use this to charge our lines with so no concrete gets stuck. Showing 24.3, and it's acceptable. So we're checking the slump, we're checking the temperature, we're checking the ticket for batch times, and then my pump operator will proceed to start filling out his pump log. Pump log is something that we use to track the concrete, whether it's late, whether the slump is on or off. So once all this is established, then we'll proceed to charge the lines. And then we'll have men all up and down the lines checking to make sure that the flow stays maintained all the way to the end so there isn't any plugging. Once the concrete is to the end of the hose, we'll attach the nozzle. And once we attach the nozzle, then we'll start proceeding to start spraying the shotcrete. Once we start, the concrete flows through the hoses, it goes through the nozzle, and the nozzleman starts spraying the wall by articulating his hands to make sure that he has the proper angles, going into the corners first, spraying at a 45-degree angle, making sure that he's doing bench lifts and layering. Meanwhile, while the nozzleman starts spraying, he has the blowpipe operator right beside him, making sure that he blowpipes any loose rebound out of any corners or edges or off the slab. So with the way of two-way radios, we'll be communicating by numbers. Number 1 is no more concrete, concrete off. Number 2 is concrete on. 2 up is more volume, 2 down is less volume. 3 on is air on, 3 off is air off, and 4 is no more batch, no more mud and hop. So typically during the day, during the process, we'll have to shoot a test panel. This panel is currently shot to test the compressive strength of the concrete. Spray one of these every 40 meters. When we're applying the concrete is always applied from bottom up. Sometimes we shoot straight to finish, and other times we'll shoot scratch and finish top down. So our shotcrete is like cast in place, but it's applied pneumatically, and that's pretty much the only difference between the two. We utilize no forms or only one-sided form. Once the wall is shot, finishers will take their 6-foot aluminum screed and they'll press it up against our piano wire that's run horizontally, and they will cut off the excess concrete to provide the line grade of the wall. The rod is a 6-foot aluminum rod that has a sharp edge on it, right? And we'll use that to cut off the excess concrete. And after that, we'll use a 4-foot Darby. We'll smooth it out and fill any holes. And then the final will be a steel trowel finish at the end. During that process, we'll cut in construction joint grooves with a groover. When the wall is complete and the shoot is done for the day, the men will do a final cleanup. They will call back all of the tools. The tool men will do a tow checklist and a van checklist, make sure that all the tools are put away and cleaned, and make sure they do a final scrape of the floor, and then the boys will go home for the day. On the following day, the demo crew will come in. They'll take apart all of the boxes. They'll do the final scrape. They'll clean up any remaining tools. They'll also dismantle all scaffolding, pack it on the totes, and prepare it for delivery to the next site.